Hello and welcome to Cozy Creeps, where we bundle up and pretend to be sitting by a cozy fire and listening to spooky tales. I'm Reagan.
I'm River.
And we will be your host for this chilling story. And guys, we're doing it. We're keeping up with our Monday night recordings and getting it posted same night. We're doing it. We're killing it. I'm going to preface right now. One of our cats is being real needy right over here.
It's Artemis.
It's Artemis again, the little black cat. Go figure. So,
Usual suspect.
I'm sorry in advance. Real sorry in advance. We're still recording in our bed because, again, recording across the hall from where our toddler is sleeping is not a good plan.
And it's, full of old baby things, so there's no room.
Yeah, so she just turned 2 last week, and we've had to transition her to a toddler bed because she started refusing her own bed. Or not her bed, her crib, a couple of weeks ago, but we didn't have a toddler bed in yet. So that's a long-winded way of saying we made a pallet and I slept on the floor with her for like a week and a half. Woohoo. So did that. So we finally got her bed in, but her old rocking chair, her old crib stuff, her old high chair because she's decided she's done with high chairs.
Yeah, she's a big girl now.
Yeah, she's a big girl now. She don't play.
Well, she plays all the time.
She plays all the time, but, she don't play about being a big girl. So, yeah, we've gone through a lot of transitions in this household recently. It's been real fun. Real fun. If you just saw on YouTube as well, you probably just saw Artemis nudging all over him, showing him all the love and affection. Or if you're listening, you probably heard it on his mic. Who knows? Sorry if you did.
Not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, so we are on our true crime episode this week, and I have been keeping it from him what it is because I know it's a story he likes. It's not a murder. We're not doing murder this week.
Is this something I actually recognize?
You will 100% recognize it.
Something Ghoul Boys did?
Yeah, a while ago, but yeah. Back on BuzzFeed, yeah. BuzzFeed Unsolved has done it. It's a pretty popular case, pretty popular story.
Is it D.B. Cooper?
Damn it, babe!
I had to guess.
Why'd you ruin it? It was DB. It's DB Cooper, guys. We're doing DB Cooper.
We know each other. We share a brain cell.
We really do. We share brain cells. So that is who our true crime is this week. It's going to be DB Cooper. So with that, let's bundle up in your favorite blanket. Grab your comfort drink. Mine this week is a Dragon's Milk Stout present from my mom because she left it in my fridge while moving out. Not of my house, for the record. Not of our house. Yeah. She didn't move out of our house. She was just moving out of her apartment to move out of state with my sister, who also just had my baby nephew. Congratulations. Like I said, big week. Big week last week for us, so yeah. But my mom left a couple of these beers in my fridge, so I was like, I'm going to drink this. Woohoo, because he doesn't like it.
No, I'm a baby. I have a sweet tooth.
I do too, but I can still drink it. Anyway, not the point. So let's grab your comfort drinks, whatever yours may be, and let's get creepy. So to start the story, on November 24th, 1971, a man looking to be in his mid-40s walked into Portland International Airport, bought a $20 ticket from Northwest Orient Airlines, which, can we just talk about the fact that a flight ticket cost $20?
I know, especially back in the day when flight was prevalent, but it's not as ubiquitous as today. I hope that was the right word. Was that the right word?
I have no idea.
That was a big word for Elmo.
That's a big word for Elmo, for real.
That felt right.
Sure, we'll go with it. But yeah, just a $20 flight ticket sounds so lovely. I've been kind of looking at flight tickets right now for around my birthday to maybe go up and visit my mom and my sister. But my birthday is also very unfortunately right around Christmas time. So it's expensive. It's a struggle. I wish those tickets were $20. Anyway, sorry, tangent. Back to the story. So he bought a $20 ticket from Northwest Orient Airlines and boarded Flight 305 from Portland, Oregon to Seattle, Washington. The man was wearing a business suit, a white shirt, and a black clip-on tie.
Important.
It is important. It's important to know what this man looked like. He boarded up the plane with 36 other passengers and ordered a bourbon and soda and calmly waited for takeoff.
Bourbon.
He ordered a bourbon and soda. That's my kind of man right there. That's my kind of man.
Also, the not bourbon and soda drinkers.
Yeah. I just meant like as a friend, like as a drinking buddy, maybe. He'd be my kind of dude because we both drink bourbon.
I see. Anyways.
Anyway, not the point. So shortly after takeoff, Dan Cooper, which is the alias he went by, handed the flight attendant a note. Now, at first, the flight attendant just thought that Cooper was trying to hit on her, give him her, ooh, goodness me, sorry, give her his phone number. So she put the note in her pocket and moved on. Now she walks by a little bit later again, and Cooper calls her over and says, "Hey, like, you need to look at that note," and tells her he has a bomb. To prove he was serious, he opened his briefcase to reveal it was filled with wires and something that looked like an explosive.
It was actually just
What?
the
Oh,
circle thing.
stop. No.
For video watchers, that's a treat for you.
Yeah, good
And
job.
that's two.
Go get him, babe. Anyway, so Cooper tells the flight attendant to go to the cockpit with a note for the pilot instructing them that he wanted $200,000 in $20 bills and 4 parachutes. He had to get reimbursed for that flight ticket and then some, obviously.
That's a lot of flights from Oregon to
It
Washington.
is. It is. That's a lot of flights,
It's
man.
a very short flight too, by the way.
He knew what he was doing. It's fine.
Portland to Seattle is probably like an hour.
Yeah, it's a pretty short flight, I would think.
That's just my guess.
Yeah, I think you're right. Anyway, so he asked for the $200,000 in $20 bills, which even in 1970s money, that's not a lot anyway. Like, I don't know. Like, if I'm hijacking a plane, I'd want more. Like, if I'm going that far, I feel like I'd want more money out of it. But that's besides the point. That's what he wanted. And 4 parachutes. So the pilot reaches out to air control, being like, "What do we do? This man presumably has a bomb on our plane." And they told him to just follow Cooper's instructions because they didn't want to risk him detonating a bomb on a plane with other passengers. So after the plane landed in Seattle, Cooper was given the money and the parachutes that he asked for. And just a note about the parachutes, because it does kind of come into play later when we discuss possible suspects. 2 of the parachutes were main functional chutes, like regular chutes that you would wear to go skydiving and all of that jazz. The other 2 were reserve chutes, which I don't fully know what that means. I'm guessing they were just like your backups pretty much. Like they weren't meant to be the main functioning ones.
Yeah, that's
But
if
they're just in case.
they're usually packed in with the main parachute, if I remember correctly, but they're just tiny.
Yeah.
Like, so the big thing is just like a tiny thing just to slow your fall a little bit.
Yeah, so he had 2 regular chutes, 2 reserve ones, but one of the reserve chutes wasn't even functional. Like you couldn't steer it. Like it was useless. It was a dud pretty much.
It keeps you from dying.
No, like I don't even think it would have launched properly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Womp.
Womp womp. Anyway, so after getting the money and the parachutes, he allowed the other passengers and most of the flight crew to disembark before telling the pilot that he wants them to fly towards Mexico. Now, the plane didn't have a large enough fuel tank for that kind of trip, so Cooper agreed to let them land in Reno, Nevada to refuel. So the plan is they're going to get to Reno, they're going to refuel, and they're going to keep going to Mexico because, again, they're all under the assumption this man has a bomb on the plane. So at 7:46 p.m., the flight took off again with Cooper in the cabin and the rest of the crew in the cockpit. He had them all just shove in there, and he stayed in the main cabin. And then not even an hour later after takeoff at 8:24 p.m., they're about 25 miles north of Portland is what it said. And Cooper put on one of the parachutes, grabbed a second one, opened the plane's aft stairs, so like just one of the doors, I guess one of the ones that leads to stairs to get out. And he has his money, and he jumps. Pretty ballsy move, especially since one of the parachutes he grabbed was the one that didn't work.
For the money, right?
For the money! Yeah, he took one of the parachutes that didn't work. And not only that, but the weather this night was very, very bad. Like, it was... I don't remember exactly how bad the rain was, but it was a really rainy, really stormy, bad weather night. Like professional parachuters and skydivers probably wouldn't jump in this kind of weather.
No, that's a confident man.
Sure, we'll go with that. But
He couldn't be tracked.
I mean, he really couldn't because after jumping, he was never seen again.
And that's all for Cozy Creeps, y'all.
No, it wasn't. Stop it. So, searches for Cooper began almost immediately after he hijacked Flight 305. They mainly looked in the wilderness near Amboy, Washington, which is an area south of the Lewis River near the Cascade foothills. That's where they kind of assumed he would have landed based on where he had jumped out. Investigators searched the area for about a week, but there was no trace of Cooper or the money. They couldn't find any trace of him. They couldn't find any remains if he had died during the jump. Couldn't find the money, nothing.
It's the 70s. It's not like they're I don't know, detective skills are really that great based on other stories we've heard.
I mean, it depends on what they're doing exactly, but I feel like a grid search through the wilderness is something they could have had down, especially in Washington.
They just walked out and they're like, nah, he's dead.
Don't see him. We
Can't
don't know
find
where
him.
he went. So after about a week, they stopped searching, hoping that once the ground thawed, that maybe they'd be able to find his remains, because they think their thoughts were, okay, like, it's snowing, it's rainy, it's cold, it's the end of November, like, he could have been frozen into the, like, when he fell and died, like, his remains could have gotten buried. So they're thinking, once the ground loosens up and thaws, we can check again. But they still didn't find any remains or any sign of him.
Well, that just sounds like a clean getaway. By the way, Dan Cooper's a lot better of an alias than whatever that other one was.
We'll get to the reason why he's called D.B. Cooper. We'll get there. So, though they'd stopped the search, the public and the media were absolutely fascinated by this case, and we're actually going to get to the reason he's called D.B. Cooper right now. So it's actually because of the media that although the hijacker used the name Dan Cooper, he in this case are referred to as D.B. Cooper. The police had been looking through criminal records after the hijacking to see if there was a man named Dan Cooper that they had in their files before this, and they had actually come across a man named D.B. Cooper, who they did later clear. They found out he was not the hijacker, it wasn't him. However, one reporter made a mistake in how they referred to the hijacker in their article, and the name D.B. Cooper stuck.
I mean, yeah. D.B. Cooper, yeah, instead of just Dan.
Dan.
No disrespect to anyone named Dan.
I'm Dan. But yeah, so...
Dirty Dan.
I'm Dirty Dan. Yeah, so that's how he got the name D.B. Cooper. It was totally an accident, a total fluke. Just, that's not what he went by at all.
Gotta love the professional media.
Anyway, that's why you double check your facts, kids. Yeah, so, now eventually, there was a break in the case, actually. In 1980, a young boy found several bundles of $20 bills along the banks of the Columbia River near Vancouver, Washington. And the serial numbers on those bills match those that were given to Cooper during the hijacking.
Do you think this could have been done in, like, any other country where they don't use paper currency?
I don't know.
I mean, I know, like, the UK and stuff uses paper currency for larger denominations, but could you imagine just, like, a bag of coins? Just, like, a bag of pesos? Or, pencils or whatever they call it overseas?
Yeah, I have no idea how that would work, honestly. I mean, in Mexico, they use paper bills, too.
Yeah, like I said, for, like, larger denominations.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. That's a good thought. Don't know how it would work.
Random thoughts.
But yeah, so that's a kind of another thing that gets talked about in this case too every once in a while is the fact that, like, this case is so weird because part of it seems like he had it just so methodically planned out. And then there's other part of it's where, like, you dum-dum, why did you do this? And one of those dum-dum moments was he didn't mention anything at all about not being given bills with serial numbers in, like, sequential order or having them write down those serial numbers or anything like that. Like, a lot of people, when they ask for money like that, they do something to kind of throw off the serial number thing. Yeah.
I mean, that would make sense, but also, like, they're going to have the list of serial numbers regardless.
Yeah.
It's not like they can just print money without the serial numbers.
No, the money will still have serial numbers, but, like, they'll specifically make a statement like, oh, like, I don't want any in sequential order, or, so that way it's a lot harder to track them.
I don't want any fours in my serial number.
Well, because what they'll do, like, if they don't mention that, then they're just going to hand them a stack that's all in sequential order and be like, all right, we handed him bills this through this, but if he's asking for $200,000 in $20 bills not in sequential order, then that's a lot harder for them to keep track of all of those bills, all of that numbering.
Yeah.
So the fact that he didn't ask for that is kind of one of those things that people are like, man, he did not think this through.
I mean, that's also like working at a bank too at one point. That's hard to also find that much money in sequential order that isn't already like freshly printed and like bundled.
That may be what they grabbed, honestly, is just freshly printed, bundled.
I guess so. Just a short turnaround time. It felt like something he didn't really need to mention. I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, back to the break in the case. So the serial numbers on the bills match those that were given to Cooper during the hijacking. So they knew this was connected to him, these bills were connected to him. So this led the investigators to believe that Cooper did actually die in the aftermath of his jump, but there was still no definitive evidence to prove this. They'd never found his remains, they never found the rest of the money, they never found parachutes, nothing. They found nothing of his after this. Now, some people do also note that the eruption of Mount St. Helens was in March of 1980, and that this may have destroyed evidence because one of his possible landing sites was near there.
Oh.
So that might be a reason why there's no evidence, no remains, is because
incinerated.
Pew! Bye-bye in a volcanic eruption. So there were actually over 1,000 suspects in this investigation, and none of them really panned out. Like, even the top like 3 standouts. Well, they now think Dan was a fake name, obviously, because this is also the 70s, when you didn't have to go through TSA and show what feels like a million different forms of ID just to get onto your plane. Like, you could go up, buy a ticket, and board the plane right there. You know? I mean, obviously, he walked on with what looked like a bomb.
And a clip-on tie.
And a clip-on tie. Oh, this man. Crazy.
Couldn't even tie his own tie.
Couldn't even tie his own tie. What a wimp. Anyway. But, so there were a few suspects that stood out, but there's no solid evidence to prove it as them. So none of them are like foolproof, like, yeah, that's the guy. It's just
conjecture.
Yeah, they're just kind of these. I picked like the top 3 that I found that seemed the most plausible, but so the first one was William Gossett, and he was a military veteran with parachute training. He also supposedly had a safety deposit box with $200,000 in it.
That's the guy.
Gossett was actually obsessed with the case and even claimed to be Cooper in his last dying days. But there's no proof. There is no actual evidence that he's Cooper. He never produced any actual evidence that he was D.B. Cooper, so that's all they had to go off of. But also, just my opinion on this man had military parachute training. Since he has that, it doesn't make sense in my brain that he would grab the parachute that doesn't work. Like,
just because it's military doesn't mean it's done correctly.
He's still trained, though, in parachute.
Like, you know what military grade means?
I do. My sorority pig is married to a man in the Air Force, so I do know what military grade means. Thanks, Ryan.
Military grade parachute.
Woo! Anyway, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me in my brain that he wouldn't know to not grab the dummy parachute, but I don't know. Again, that's just in my brain. That's my opinion.
Or he knew so much.
He's like, let me throw him off.
Anyway,
throw him off. Let's go. Who knows? So, anyway, moving on. Another potential subject. Jeez Louise. Another potential suspect was Kenneth Christensen, and he was a former paratrooper, so again, has knowledge on parachuting. He also actually worked for Northwest Orient Airlines as a mechanic, a flight attendant, and a purser for a brief period after returning from World War II. So he actually worked for this airline company. So that's kind of another reason people kind of think like, oh, he could maybe fit in there. Now, he actually passed away in 1984, and there was no evidence that he was the hijacker. Like, there was no reason to think he was.
94.
What did I say?
84.
Sorry, yeah, 1994. My bad.
Stick with Orville.
Anyway, why was he a suspect, you might ask? Well, his brother, after seeing a documentary about the case, believed that his brother could have been D.B. Cooper and posited him as a suspect for the investigation.
Dang.
Could you imagine?
It's like if
Could you imagine Keanu being like, yo, I think my brother...
Or maybe, like, he's a suspect.
Yeah, like, even if I saw something like that, and Like, I'm like, that looks like my sibling. You know, I keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I'd be like,
I might,
that's just statute of
on,
limitations.
on that one, I might keep my mouth shut a little bit. Be like, he's dead already. It's fine. Just leave him alone. Let him rest in peace.
I'm like, where's the money?
Right. Where's that money,
You
bro?
wanna buy my silence?
Yeah, you didn't want to buy that from me,
Brother.
bro? Come on, brother. Anyway, we got one more. The last suspect that I want to cover is actually on the FBI's website as the favorite suspect of the investigation. His name's Richard Floyd McCoy, and he was actually arrested only 5 months after the Cooper hijacking because he hijacked another airplane and did a parachute escape. Pretty solid reasoning.
Pretty cool name, by the way.
Richard Floyd McCoy.
Rolls off the tongue.
It does.
He's got to be the one.
He does. Well, actually, the reason they rule him out from the Cooper hijacking is because he did not match the physical description that was given by 2 flight attendants on Flight 305, and both flight attendants in separate interviews gave this description, and it's basically identical, and they both had a lot of interaction with Dan Cooper, which is why they can really rely on this physical description because they both gave the same description, they both spent a lot of time interacting with him, so they know what this man looked like.
McCoy sounds like he can tie a tie.
Yeah, he does sound like he could tie a tie. So that's why they don't think he is Dan Cooper's, because he doesn't match that physical description at all. Which, I mean, that is fair. So now there's also, those are the suspects that, like, you know, if he did survive the crash, who he possibly was. Like the possibility, like my top 3 that I found that I think are most plausible. Now, as far as the theories to what may have actually happened to him, the first one is the most popular and plausible one, and that's he did not survive the jump. The weather was really bad, and the weather was bad, it's dark, and we don't know if he was a trained to parachute, like, if he knew how to parachute properly. Like, we have no idea what his experience was. For all we know, he's a novice who just said, let's jump out of a plane. So it's just... And then not only that, but he's landing in the woods, so even if he is a trained parachuter, like, trying to navigate that and, like, make it through the trees and everything without getting caught or possibly impaled, like...
Yeah, well, that's a boring theory.
The odds aren't in his favor. And even if he did survive, he makes it to the ground, he lives, that man is not dressed or prepared for the wilderness of the Pacific Northwest in November. So... possibly died from exposure as well.
He probably got some hand warmers in there.
In his little pocket. But, like, he's dressed in a business suit, loafers, that clip-on tie, doesn't have any other materials for surviving in the wilderness, so, like...
Except bags of money.
Except bags of money. Exactly.
Insulation.
Exactly. Yeah, that's all he had, though. So, his odds of surviving in the wilderness at the end of November in the Pacific Northwest, where it does get pretty cold, and it's pretty wet up there too, so cold plus wet, not a great combo. His odds weren't that great.
They weren't ever in his favor?
They really weren't ever in his favor. Good call. Now, the next theory is that he actually did survive the jump, and he escaped. So, this theory was kind of bolstered on and perpetuated by the fact that that young boy did find the bills from the hijacking in 1980. So that people kind of think like, oh, maybe he did get away, he lost some of the money, you know, but like he got away, he made it out.
How much did they say the boy found?
I want to say I read it was like $5,800. Yeah, he found a good chunk of money. I don't think he got to keep it either, which is sad.
I mean, if he tried to use it, they would be like,
let him
the
keep
little
it.
boy's DB.
That little boy,
Book him.
that little 8-year-old, that's D.B. Cooper. He was only... No, he wasn't even born. Because it happened in 71 and then he found it in 80, and I'm pretty sure he was 8 years old.
Yeah, it's probably like a year or two off.
Yeah. He wasn't even conceived yet, and yet he did it. Yeah, so that's kind of what perpetuates that theory, though, is the finding of the money kind of makes people believe, oh, maybe D.B. Cooper did survive and he escaped and they never found him. So, for all we know, I like to think that he did make it to Mexico and lived out his days sipping margaritas on the beach. Good for you, D.B. Good for you. So, the last theory, personally, when I read it, I was like, this is probably the least likely. And it's that he never actually jumped off the plane. according to this theory, he staged the jump, and then when the plane landed, he sneakily slipped away amidst the chaos of them like searching the plane and everything.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I mean, because they're probably gonna be extremely eyes on the plane, dissecting it. It's like,
and it's like,
I don't think he's gonna be able to slip away looking as D.B. Cooper is.
I'm assuming the majority of us have either seen the inside of a plane or been on a plane. Like, we all know what they look like. Where was he gonna hide?
And like in the back or something.
Like in the bathroom? Like, where was this man gonna hide? Really? Like, I don't know. That one to me is the least plausible, but it is a theory out there that he never actually jumped.
Yeah, his theory is, he's actually the pilot.
The theory is he's actually the pilot, guys. Woo! Just kidding. No, he was not the pilot. But, yeah, so which theory do you think it is? Which one do you want to go with?
Out of these presenting, the second one, that he did get away.
That he's sipping margaritas in Mexico?
No, but, like, that he got away. But
yeah,
we're going to cover the update that we saw?
No! Oh my gosh, I forgot to look up the update.
Well,
cover it, babe, go.
Well, I mean, I don't, from what I remember, and I'm just going to point you to Watcher Network, because I think they did an update on D.B. Cooper where it was allegedly solved.
Can't believe I forgot the update.
But long story short, I think it was someone, a relative of D.B. Cooper, had found the parachute that he used, and apparently it was one that was like in the family or something. I don't know for sure, but
I'll have to look that up because that's my bad. I totally forgot there was an update to this case and to add it in here. So next week at the top of the episode, I'll come back and just real quick touch on what it was. So that way we have that full closure. Sorry guys, I just totally forgot about that. I feel so bad now. Ugh.
That's okay. You can go watch the Ghoul Boys. They'll give you the update with their high quality stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're pretty fun to watch too. You can watch their coverage of D.B. Cooper as well. Their coverage of it's really
the original
funny.
One, like years and years ago.
Yeah, from BuzzFeed Unsolved. It's so funny. Highly recommend. But yeah, that is the story of D.B. Cooper. So thanks a lot for ruining it at the top. I was trying to build up to it there at the beginning.
I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Because I told you it was one of your favorites.
That, and I would have figured it out really soon because it is a very popular one, and it is one of my favorites. One, because it's not murder, and two, it's just, guys boistering his confidence with his bourbon and soda and his clip-on tie, and
I know.
Read the letter, I got a bomb. Like, come on,
Read the note, lady, I got a bomb.
But I didn't really know about it until watching BuzzFeed Unsolved with them. But when I was in high school, we were, being degenerates, and there was like this old abandoned strip club, apparently. I probably told you about it out there.
Have? I just forgot that it was a strip club that was abandoned. I just knew it was an abandoned building.
I was told it was an abandoned strip club out there in Sprang. And I don't know if they had always dubbed it D.B. Cooper's Mansion somehow, so it just stuck with me. And just, sure I'm just outing some illegal trespassing, but
yeah, it's fine.
Me and some old bandmates.
It was over a decade ago, I think you're saying.
True. But we went there, and it was crazy. It was really scary, but it was exhilarating because you're doing some illegal stuff with your buddies,
doing some sketchy things,
breaking stuff, looking at the graffiti, and walking in, it's just dusty and dark, of course, and we hear the shuffle, and it's like a homeless dude or something, so we get the F out of there real quick, speed off, and we're just laughing. And I don't know if that place is still there, if they finally demolished it, but it's, if you know the area, 45 and 99 north in the Spring area, and it's, probably tucked away somewhere in the woods, just off a little turn, and it was a fun spot. We've gone multiple times. We only went inside once, but it was one of those ooh, we gotta do it.
Glad to know you're secretly a hood rat.
The one time.
You've
definitely got levels on me.
I've just been around a lot of weird things that happen. That's a whole other story. If y'all ever want extra content, leave it in the comments on YouTube or Instagram, Facebook, wherever about the episode. If y'all ever want story time with Reagan on the crazy things I have experienced in this lifetime, this short lifetime, I'll tell y'all about it. It's really entertaining. Maybe we'll make some bonus content out of that. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is DP Cooper. Thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode of Cozy Creeps. So like I just kind of mentioned, I'm going to run through our usual admin speech. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, all under Cozy Creeps Podcast, so check that out. Also, because Spotify's been yelling at me, y'all need to follow me on Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to your podcast, because Spotify told me, hey, with the amount of people who are listening, you should have more followers, and I felt personally attacked. So give us a follow. It also does help boost us out and get us more out there into people's feeds, so it's really appreciated if you guys do just follow us here on Spotify or on Apple Music or wherever, again, that you get your podcast. It would be greatly appreciated. We are also still waiting to do some listener stories, which I want to start doing once a month. So if you have any spooky or true crime stories, you can send those to cozycreepspodcast@gmail.com with the subject line listener story. And you can also send any recommendations you have there, or you can DM me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any of our socials. You can DM me there right now, because we're still small enough right now where I can sort through those DMs. I actually did get a DM from one of his childhood best friends about what we're going to be covering next week. So that'll be super exciting. And
shout out Amulek.
Yeah, thanks Amulek for the recommendation. I have been waiting. I'm going to give y'all a little teaser. It's going to be an alien story. I've been wanting to do one for a while. I just keep kind of forgetting. Oopsies. So he brought it up to me and I was like, wait, I've heard of this one. I want to do it. It's a cool one. So keep your eye out for that one next week. We'll keep trying to keep up with our posting on Monday nights and getting these episodes out to you guys on a timely basis every week. So just keep your eye out for those episodes. Follow us on all our socials. If you have any recommendations, like I said, send them in wherever. And also follow us on your podcast listening apps for a favor. I would greatly appreciate it. And with that, go bundle up in your warm blanket, finish your comfy drink, and stay cozy. Bye.